This is a 1946 Peterbilt. It belongs to Jack Hildy. And he decided to do some modifications to it. So we took these rear ends right here. Those there are probably the rear ends that came in that truck in 1946. They are worm drive. I think they're 456s. And he took them out because he wanted to put in different stuff. So he bought a cutoff of a 98 Freightliner. We took it all apart, put the suspension in this truck, which was a awful task because the Freightliner frame is wider, it's deeper than this frame, so we had to make it all fit, which we did. We had to make the cross members fit. Chad Hillier came and drilled all the holes in the frame with his magnetic drill. And he drilled those holes with a drill called a slugger. And that thing goes right through that frame, them frame rails, just like it was. Whew. This thing's got a double frame, so he was drilling through a 1/2 inch of frame. That drill bit would go right through there just like it was nothing. So we haven't got it all together, but we've got it almost together. We got it all, got the drive lines back, got all the air plumbed to it, except we don't have that front cross member because Chad is building that. He made the angles. We took that engine out that's sitting right over there, which was I don't know what it is, a big cam 4, I guess. Anyway, that engine did not come in this truck. In 1946, this thing probably could have had anything in it, but now it's got a small block Cummins in it with an NHRS 320, which is a supercharged engine. And it is fitted with a Ellis manifold. And a guy named Kurt Jeffords built all the exhaust. That guy is a real craftsman. You can see everything, all this air ride is all new. The airbags are new, brake drums are new, brakes are new, air cans are new. We had to replace one of the torque arms. Bushings were bad in it. They don't make bushings for them, I guess, so we had to replace all that. We had to get the drive line shortened. This had a 1800 series drive line on the front of it. So we took it to the driveline store in Bellingham. Rich was able to get a yoke that fits that rear end, and it has a 1700 series. So now it's got 1700 all the way through. That right there is a 3-speed Brownie. And up in there where you can't see it, there's a 5-speed, which is an 8255F. So if you get that main transmission in top gear, meaning 5th gear, you get this here transmission in overdrive. And these rear end, the ratio in these rear ends is 373. This thing, if the engine had enough power to pull it, I'm sure it'd go well over 100. But I'm not sure I'd want to drive it that fast. That's what the inside of the old thing looks like. You go right up here. There's what the engine looks like. See, it's got an Ellis manifold on it. There's 2 exhaust pipes running out down there. That thing right there is commonly called an iron lung. A lot of people, when you just say that's an iron lung, they look at you kind of funny, but it is. However, this engine's smarter than a Detroit. You know, a Detroit will not run without a blower on it, and this engine will. So this engine's way smarter than any Detroit, except the Series 60s. The Series 60 is a 4-cycle, And they will run without a turbo. But this, however, this engine will run without a blower, but she's cherry. That engine is, I don't know when they started making that engine, but they quit making them in 1966. And that's what year that engine is. And that engine is like a brand new engine because it was on it had a water pump hooked up to it and it was on standby and it barely run. So then you get over here on the other side, we had to graft it had a generator on it that was anchored to the back of the supercharger, run off a Lovejoy coupling. Now it's got an alternator on it, and you can see these guys did a good job of fabricating that. And then when this engine was hooked up to a water pump, it did not have an air compressor on it, so we had to put an air compressor on it. We had to get a different fuel pump because it was set for a marine application. So, but it thing is just like a brand new engine. It is just. This thing she's nice, folks. I'm here to tell you. And the other reason that we changed those rear ends out and put these rear ends in it, because I don't know if everybody knows this, but Peterbilts have wooden axles. And when you get to be as old as this thing is, 1946, well, we noticed a little dry rot in the axles. So, we had to take them out because, you don't want to be going down the road and have wood chips falling out on the highway, because, people run over them. And so that's the other reason we had to put these Freightliner, well, they're not Freightliner rear ends, they're Rockwell, but the Freightliner suspension is probably as good an air ride as you could get. Jack Hildy, the guy that owns this truck, used to own Brown Line Freight in Mount Vernon. And he had about 55 Freightliners that ran all over the United States hauling frozen food. And these Freightliners, I'm here to tell you folks, ride good. I drove one of them to Utah one time to get a new trailer because Jack bought utility trailers and he always went and got his own trailers. So I drove one of them Freightliners to Utah to get a trailer, and I figured it'd kill me driving it bobtail. The thing rode real good. Yeah, and so his head mechanic was Kurt Jeffers that worked in his shop. He said there was never a more trouble-free suspension than this right here. This is on highway trucks, so I don't know how this would ever work out on log trucks, but I think if a guy takes care of a truck, anything would work. But, I've seen how some people drive nowadays, and it might not hold up. But anyway, we started on this whole thing about, 6-8 months ago, but there's a bunch of chairs over there. See that? And sometimes we come to work here, and it seems how this place is heated. It's got radiant heat up there. And like right now, it's 60 degrees in here, and outside I think it's about 25 or 26, 27 degrees. It's pretty nice in here. There's his old junky motorhome right there, That right there is probably a real unique motorhome because Jack being a trucker, he wanted a motorhome. So that was good. Most motorhomes have a 3-axle motorhome has, most of them might have 2 rear ends, but only one of them drive. This thing here, both rear ends drive. It's got lockers in both rear ends. It's got them big fat Michelins on the back. It's geared up tall, so that thing will travel fast. And then there's some other here's an old Ford here that's, we put this together here a few years ago. We had to be real careful with this thing when we put it together because this thing is cherry. It's an F11 with a 534 in it. And You had to be real careful when we worked on this thing so we didn't scratch it all up. And we did not. We put the cab on it. We put it all together and never scratched anything. I couldn't believe that we did that. And then there's an OKB12 right there. It's got a 590 Hall Scott in it. And over here, here's a great big old 36 Ford. It's got a flathead in it, and it runs. And here's an old dead Cummins, you know, right there, dead Cummins. But here's a great big Kenmore. 3408 makes that thing go. Over there's an old Peterbilt thing. 3408 makes it go too. I think this guy liked cats. And right there's a OGMC. It's got a 671 in it. I don't know where the snowmobile come from. We're not into working on snowmobiles. So this is kind of a short rundown of what goes on over here at this place. And that old Freightliner over there, it's got 3408 in it too. So that's a Zamboni there when we get the floor dirty. That thing there's got a 3408 in it. That's a nice truck. So that's about all I can say for now, folks. Bye.